Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders' decision to take a swing on Deebo Samuel Sr. was one of those moves that, at the time, felt more like a footnote than a franchise-altering gamble. When Adam Peters, the Commanders' new general manager and former 49ers executive, pulled the trigger on that trade, sending just a fifth-round pick to San Francisco, the football world collectively shrugged. Deebo was supposed to be past his prime, right? The whispers around the league painted him as an injury-prone, overpaid, and overly dramatic wide receiver who had already had his moment in the sun during that 2021 breakout season in the Bay Area. But here we are, 5 games into the new campaign, and it's becoming clearer every week that Peters might have pulled off one of the biggest heists of the offseason. Deebo Samuel isn't just fitting in at Washington. He's thriving, and he's doing it in a way that's reshaping how people look at the Commanders as a whole. From the moment he arrived in D.C., there was a quiet confidence about Deebo. He didn't show up with a chip on his shoulder or any interest in clapping back at critics. He just worked. Reports out of training camp suggested he was in the best shape he'd been in for years, lighter, faster, and more explosive. Cliff Kingsbury, in his first season as the team's offensive coordinator, immediately saw the possibilities. Kingsbury's system is built on motion, spacing, and versatility, all things that play right into Samuel's strengths. This isn't the rigid, conservative offense that frustrated fans during the Ron Rivera era. This is a dynamic, forward-thinking attack that's designed to get playmakers in space. And Deebo, as it turns out, is still one of the best in the world at making defenders miss once the ball is in his hands. The Commanders needed that kind of weapon. Sure, Terry McLaurin is the face of the receiving corps, the steady all-pro caliber route technician who's carried the offense through years of instability at quarterback. But after McLaurin's summer contract holdout and subsequent nagging injuries, Washington needed someone who could step up and carry the load. Enter Deebo Samuel, the supposed complementary piece who's turned into the heartbeat of the offense. His Week 1 debut against the Giants set the tone. 96 total yards, a touchdown, and a spark that electrified an offense trying to find its identity with rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels under center. From the first snap, Samuel looked like he belonged, not as a washed-up veteran clinging to relevance, but as a rejuvenated star with something to prove. And as the weeks have gone by, that fire hasn't dimmed. In fact, it's only grown. Week after week, Samuel has been the Commanders' most reliable source of explosive plays. Whether lined up out wide, in the slot, or coming out of the backfield, he's been a nightmare for defensive coordinators. His chemistry with Daniels has been one of the most pleasant surprises of the young season. For a rookie quarterback, having a veteran receiver who can turn a 5-yard slant into a 30-yard gain is an absolute blessing. And Daniels has learned quickly that if you just get the ball into Deebo's hands, good things tend to happen. But the real coming-out party, the game that officially silenced the skeptics, came in Week 5 against the Los Angeles Chargers. That afternoon at FedEx Field felt like a statement, not just for Samuel, but for the entire Commanders organization. Washington controlled the tempo, dominated both lines of scrimmage, and played with a swagger that's been missing from this franchise for years. Deebo was the centerpiece of it all. 8 catches, 96 receiving yards, and the exclamation point. A fourth-quarter touchdown on a gutsy fourth-down call that had fans roaring. Dan Quinn, never one to play it safe, trusted his rookie quarterback and his veteran receiver to make something happen, and they delivered in spectacular fashion. Daniels rolled right, bought time, and zipped a strike to the back of the end zone where Deebo toe-tapped for 6. It was his 4th touchdown of the young season, and maybe the most symbolic one yet. That touchdown wasn't just another highlight for the reel, it was a signal. The Commanders aren't just collecting moral victories anymore. They're turning into a legitimate threat in the NFC. And Deebo Samuel is a massive part of that transformation. Every time he touches the ball, the energy in the stadium changes. He brings an edge, a toughness that permeates through the entire offense. It's the same kind of swagger he brought to San Francisco during their 2021 playoff run. Only now, he's doing it in burgundy and gold. And what's truly impressive is the way he's adapted his game to fit this new phase of his career. Deebo isn't just relying on raw athleticism anymore. He's refined his route running, become more patient with his reads, and developed a better sense for when to pick his spots. The reckless, bruising style that once made him a highlight reel staple also made him injury-prone. But under Kingsbury's guidance, he's learned how to stay effective without sacrificing his health. He's taking fewer unnecessary hits, using angles and leverage instead of brute force. It's a more mature version of the same player, the same fire, just harnessed more efficiently. You can feel that leadership influence too. Washington's locker room, for years, was defined by instability. Coaching changes, ownership scandals, quarterback carousel, you name it. But this season feels different. With Dan Quinn establishing a disciplined, no-nonsense culture and veterans like Samuel leading by example, there's a new level of professionalism in the building. Multiple young players have already mentioned how Deebo's presence has changed the energy in practice. He's not the loudest guy, but when he speaks, people listen. That's the kind of influence that can reshape a franchise. Statistically, he's already on pace for one of the best seasons of his career. Through 5 games, he's averaging nearly 90 total yards per contest, with a mix of receiving and rushing production that keeps defenses guessing. Kingsbury's been lining him up everywhere. One snap, he's in motion across the formation. The next, he's taking a handoff out of the shotgun. It's creative, unpredictable, and exactly the kind of innovation that makes this Commanders' offense so difficult to defend. If he keeps this pace, there's no question he'll be in the Pro Bowl conversation again, and maybe even flirting with an All-Pro nod if Washington keeps winning. It's funny to think about how quickly the narrative can change in the NFL. Just a few months ago, analysts were mocking the Commanders for wasting a draft pick on an aging wideout. The same voices who called him a wash drama queen are now praising his resurgence. The national media was ready to write him off, and yet here he is, making them eat their words every Sunday. That's the beauty of sports. You can't predict hunger, and Deebo Samuel is playing like a man with something to prove. And let's not forget the ripple effect his resurgence is having across the roster. Jaden Daniels, who entered the season under immense pressure as a rookie starter, suddenly has a security blanket that makes his life infinitely easier. Defenses can't just key in on McLaurin or stack the box to stop the run when Samuel's on the field. His motion alone forces linebackers to hesitate. His presence opens up play-action opportunities, and his versatility keeps Kingsbury's playbook wide open. Even players like Brian Robinson Jr. and Jahan Dotson are benefiting from the space he creates. When you bring in a player who commands respect from opposing defenses, everyone else eats too. There's also the intangible factor, momentum. The Commanders have long been a team defined by almost competitive, almost playoff ready, almost relevant. But these past few weeks, led by the steady presence of Quinn on defense and the electric spark of Deebo on offense, that narrative is shifting. There's a belief growing in this team that feels different from years past. You can see it in the way Daniels carries himself, in the way the offensive line celebrates after big plays, in the way the crowd at FedEx Field is starting to sound like a true home field advantage again. Deebo's energy is contagious, and it's spreading through the entire organization. When Terry McLaurin returns to full strength, Washington could have one of the most dangerous receiving tandems in the NFC. McLaurin's precision and Deebo's explosiveness complement each other perfectly. Add in Dotson's developing route tree and the steady emergence of Tite and Cole Turner, and suddenly you've got a balanced, unpredictable offense that can hurt you in multiple ways. That's the kind of diversity that playoff teams need when the weather gets cold and defenses tighten up. Of course, there's still a long road ahead. The Commanders' schedule doesn't get any easier, with upcoming matchups against the Cowboys, Eagles, and Bengals. But if the first 5 weeks are any indication, this team has the resilience to hang with anyone. And if Deebo keeps performing at this level, he might not just be the comeback story of the season. He might be the catalyst that turns Washington from a rebuilding project into a legitimate contender. In hindsight, it's poetic. Adam Peters, the man who helped scout and draft Deebo Samuel in San Francisco, trusted his instincts again. He knew what kind of competitor he was getting. He knew that under the right conditions, with the right coaching and culture, Deebo could still be that game-changing weapon. It's not often you get a second chance to bet on a player you believed in from the start, and Peters took full advantage. Now, the Commanders are reaping the rewards. So, while the rest of the league continues to debate whether the Buccaneers or the Lions or the Cowboys are real contenders, don't sleep on Washington. This team is building something, piece by piece, and Deebo Samuel Sr. has become the heartbeat of that process. The gamble is aging beautifully, better than anyone expected, and if the Commanders keep trending upward, that fifth-round pick might go down as one of the biggest bargains of the decade. In a league that moves fast and forgets faster, Deebo's proving that heart, grit, and the right opportunity can still rewrite a narrative. And right now, he's writing one hell of a chapter in the nation's capital. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Exploded news just hit the NFL world, and it's the kind of shakeup that makes fans spill their coffee in disbelief. ALVIN Kamara, the electrifying running back who has been synonymous with the New Orleans Saints offense for nearly a decade, is no longer a Saint. Yes, you read that correctly. Kamara, the player who has thrilled crowds with his jaw-dropping runs, his elusive cuts, and his uncanny ability to find the end zone from seemingly nowhere, has officially been announced as a member of the Washington Commanders. The rumor mill had been buzzing for weeks with whispers about Kamara's future in New Orleans, but nobody could have predicted the sheer audacity of this move. The Saints, a franchise built around stability and offensive firepower, have now parted ways with one of their most beloved stars, and the ripple effect across the league is immense. Social media exploded the second the news dropped, with fans, analysts, and even rival players weighing in on what this could mean for both Kamara and the teams involved. There's a mix of shock, excitement, and, let's be honest, a little bit of panic for Saints fans who now face the reality of a backfield without their marquee talent. Kamara's tenure with New Orleans was marked by record-breaking plays, highlight reels that filled every sports channel, and a personality that connected with fans both on and off the field. He wasn't just a player. He was the heartbeat of the Saints offense, a game-changer in every sense of the word. His departure feels like the end of an era, leaving a massive void that will be incredibly hard to fill. But for the Commanders, this is nothing short of a seismic victory. Landing Kamara is a statement move, a bold declaration that the team is serious about shaking up the NFC East hierarchy. The potential synergy between Kamara and the Commanders' offensive scheme has fans speculating about what could be a historic season. Imagine Kamara slicing through defensive lines in Washington, connecting with his new quarterback in ways that only he can, and adding that signature flair that makes him impossible to tackle. The possibilities are tantalizing, and the NFL world is already abuzz with predictions, breakdowns, and what-if scenarios. Analysts are poring over tape, calculating the impact on fantasy football leagues, playoff projections, and even the psyche of opposing defenses. And let's not overlook the human side of this story. Kamara has been more than a player. He's been a leader, a mentor to younger teammates, and a figure that embodies charisma and resilience. Transitioning to a new team after so many years is never easy, but the Commanders are banking on Kamara's experience, versatility, and sheer talent to elevate the team to new heights. Rumors suggest that this move might also come with a strategic restructuring in Washington's backfield, where Kamara's presence could redefine how the team approaches both the run game and the passing game. There's talk of expanded offensive packages designed specifically to maximize his unique skill set, from jet sweeps and draw plays to more complex schemes that exploit Kamara's vision and agility. Meanwhile, the Saints are reportedly exploring several avenues to fill the void left by Kamara. Names are being tossed around, trades are being hinted at, and the front office is scrambling to reassure fans that the team can remain competitive despite losing such a cornerstone player. The narrative is shifting rapidly, and sports media outlets are working overtime to piece together the full story behind the decision. Some speculate contract disputes, others point to a desire for a fresh challenge, and a few insiders hint at broader team strategy changes that made Kamara's departure inevitable. Whatever the true reasoning, one thing is clear. This is a headline-grabbing, conversation-starting moment that will dominate NFL news cycles for weeks, if not months. Fans are divided. Saints loyalists are heartbroken, recounting every memorable Kamara moment, from last-minute touchdowns to unforgettable postseason heroics. Meanwhile, Commanders supporters are ecstatic, envisioning Kamara as the missing link that transforms their team from playoff contenders into legitimate Super Bowl threats. The social media reactions alone tell a story, with memes, GIFs, and viral clips flooding timelines as everyone tries to process the sheer magnitude of the trade. And let's not forget the larger implications for the league. Kamara's move could spark a chain reaction in free agency and trades, with teams reevaluating their rosters and strategies in response to the Commanders' bold maneuver. Other running backs, quarterbacks, and offensive coordinators are suddenly under new scrutiny as everyone recalibrates expectations. There's even speculation that this shakeup could influence draft strategies in the coming years, as teams try to anticipate how this new Kamara-led offense will challenge conventional defensive schemes. The ripple effect is enormous, and the NFL ecosystem is already feeling the tremors. Meanwhile, Kamara himself seems ready for the challenge, exuding confidence and optimism in public statements about joining Washington. Sources close to the player suggest that he's eager to embrace the opportunity, motivated by the chance to prove himself in a new environment and to leave an indelible mark on yet another franchise. It's a narrative filled with intrigue, ambition, and the thrill of the unknown. The Commanders, for their part, are clearly banking on Kamara's superstar presence to energize the fan base, drive ticket sales, and shift the team culture in a more dynamic, winning direction. The expectations are sky high, and the pressure will be immense. But if anyone has the talent and charisma to rise to the occasion, it's ALVIN Kamara. As the NFL world digests this seismic move, the story continues to unfold. Pundits will debate, fans will speculate, and social media will remain ablaze with reaction. Every snap Kamara takes in a Commander's uniform will be dissected, celebrated, and critiqued in equal measure. This is more than a trade. It's a narrative shift, a headline that redefines the trajectory of two franchises, and a moment that will be remembered as one of the most explosive developments in recent NFL history. ALVIN Kamara's journey from New Orleans to Washington marks not just a new chapter in his career, but a catalyst for change across the league, a reminder of how quickly the landscape of professional football can pivot, and proof that in the NFL, nothing is ever truly settled until the whistle blows. Fans, analysts, and even casual observers will be watching closely as Kamara takes the field for the Commanders, eager to see if this move lives up to the hype, and whether this electrifying talent can translate his Saints magic into a new era of Washington football. It's a rumor-turned-reality that has already captured headlines, ignited debates, and set the stage for what could be a historic and unforgettable season. The shockwaves are only beginning, and one thing is certain. The NFL will never look the same again with ALVIN Kamara wearing the burgundy and gold of the Commanders. The league has been sent into a frenzy, with every fan imagining the highlights, the touchdowns, and the plays that will define this new era, and the conversation shows no signs of slowing down. The buzz, the speculation, and the drama have only just begun, and for those who love the sport, this is the kind of news that reminds us why we watch, why we care, and why moments like this make the NFL endlessly unpredictable, thrilling, and utterly compelling. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.